So I'm actually drinking. I know you don't want to talk about drinks, but I'm drinking caffeinated tea right now. Like I'm drinking caffeine at 6:24 p.m. on a Thursday for two reasons. One, my children are off school tomorrow because the Braves won the World Series.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard some parents are happy about it, and then some parents are like, "What the F?"
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm split. I'm split on the topic because do I like getting up at 6 in the goddamn morning to get my kids off school? No. Why does school have to start that early? Like,
Why?
Who are we serving? Like, do our brains really function that well that early in the morning?
Also, related topic, which we can get to later, but are they really capable of working 8 hours a day? Like, who came up with the 8-hour workday?
Yeah,
anyway,
no, it's fucking bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Like, we shouldn't be slaves to the system of your employment or school.
No.
But on the other hand, get these kids out of my fucking house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm happy to not be waking up early tomorrow, but now my kids are going to be home and I still have to work. It's not like I got the day off. Like I still have work to do.
Yeah. Why?
I mean, I'm working from home at least. A lot of parents are like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? So people are signing up for camps, day camp tomorrow. They got to pay the camp to watch their kids so they can go to fucking work tomorrow. So,
like, what is the deal with letting the kids off but not letting any of the adults off?
Yeah, why are we not given a day off? Like, if the kids are off, why don't we get the day off? I mean, you know me, Sarah. I don't really take a day off. Like, I got shit to do. I got to do grading. I've got some shit to do for our films that we're working on. I got to redo the synopsis for our feature. I got a bunch of shit to do. But anyways, the kids are not here. But the real reason I'm drinking this caffeinated tea is because after our podcast, this is gonna sound insane. After you and I record the show, Chris and I are going to see the Eternals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta get you out of here.
No, don't. I want to talk about this. I made sure that the movie doesn't start until 9, so I have plenty of time to do that. It's very late, and apparently this movie is like 2 hours and 45 minutes long, or 37 minutes long. You know what's longer than that, though?
Lord of the Rings?
House of Gucci.
Really?
Yes.
How long is it?
It's 2 hours and 47 minutes long.
Wow.
That's almost a 3-hour movie. That's 3 hours of Gaga and Adam.
I don't understand these long movies. Like if I can't work more than an hour and a half at a time without taking a break, like I can't watch a movie for more than an hour and a half at a time.
There should be a break. There should be an intermission. Like it's like Shakespeare at this point. We should have an intermission so people can go out, grab a brownie, take a shit.
Pee.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't drink a drop of water before going into Dune.
Like, that's the thing, is you have to be anxious about having to pee during a movie. Like, you shouldn't have to be anxious about that.
You want to know my theory as to why I think movies have gotten longer?
What?
Because of the popularity of episodic storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that our stories have gotten alternatively longer and shorter. So it's either I'm watching a 1-minute TikTok video or I'm watching a 6-part series.
Yeah.
And so I think movies have also gotten longer, but a movie is not a series.
No. But don't make it a series.
I will watch 2 hours and 47 minutes of Adam Driver and Lady Gaga happily.
That's true.
Like I will be happy about. Dune.
I'll watch 4 hours of them.
Oh yeah. Give me 4 hours. Give me the uncut, give me the uncircumcised version of House of Gucci, if you know what I'm saying.
Give me 7 hours, which it ties into a joke that was just in this episode.
Oh God, I can't wait to talk about it. Oh my God. Okay,
the Zoom call. This is a 7-hour Zoom call.
That reminded me of how you said that your family does Zoom calls.
Just like we've done 3 in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not 7 hours.
No.
Yeah. No, my family doesn't do Zoom calls. We tried some during the holidays when we couldn't be together, and it was really awkward. Like it was just kind of like, what do we do? And the kids are just running around in the background, like not paying attention. It was just really hard.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Adam and Andy podcast.
Welcome.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And we are going to be talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, season 8 today. And
Episodes 7 and 8.
7 and 8. And we're going to be talking about the Boyles family 7-hour phone call.
A poor man's Dwight Schrute farm
Oh,
episode.
wow. I'm interested. Wow, you caught out of the gate. Oh my God, Sarah. Wow. Now I really can't wait to talk to you about it. Wow, that is not the reaction I had, but now that you said it, I can see that. I can see where you're coming from there. So before we get into the episodes, which are Game of Boyles, and which I really think they should have called Boyles Out, because it was really more of a Knives Out parody than a Game of Thrones.
Knives Out parody. Yes.
I mean, there was even a Knives Out impression.
They even used the words "Knives Out" at one point.
They did, and it sounds a little bit like Balls Out. So I really don't know why they didn't name the episode Boyles Out, because that would have been the right naming, I think. And then Renewal was episode 8. Mm-hmm. Do you want to get into some Adam and Andy news?
Sure.
I've actually got a lot today. So Andy, on the Andy front, Andy was nominated for a People's Choice Award for Best Comedy Actor for 2021, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine was nominated for Best Comedy Show. And you can vote. So Sarah, if you haven't gotten your vote in yet, I did vote. Apparently you can vote like 6 times. But it tells you, like, do you want to vote 6 times and give all your votes to this one person? And I was like, obviously, who else would I vote for?
I want to vote 5 times for Andy and then 1 time for, I don't know, Jonah Hill. Just kidding.
I think it was all TV actors in that category, I think. But yeah, Andy's been nominated, so I hope he gets it, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine wins. There's been a pretty aggressive campaign on Twitter amongst the Andy Samberg fans to get him that award. So I've been retweeting it. Other people have been retweeting it. And so if you haven't voted for Andy, it seems like it's still going on. So get your vote out there. Vote for Andy for Best Comedy Actor, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine for Best Comedy Show. That would be cool, I think, if they won. What a nice way to end that show, were they to win that. Also, Baking It has a release date. It is coming out on December 2nd on Peacock.
Yes, on where?
Peacock. I think you can just watch it online. Isn't Peacock kind of free? You don't have to pay for it, right?
Is it free?
I think so.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that, like, I think you can just watch it.
Making It is on Hulu.
That's true. We haven't found a network for Raking It yet. We're still on the hunt.
Yeah.
So
I still think about that show sometimes. And every time I look out in the yard and Sam's like, we should get a rake. And I'm like, raking it.
And then John Hamm shows up with like a big truck and a lot of garden implements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited about Baking It. I don't think we'll be watching it in December because we still got 2 more episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think that's how we're rounding out our Andy time in 2021. Will be the finale of season 8. But that means that when we come back, it'll be Baking It time. If you want.
Yes.
It'll be a change of pace. Maya Rudolph, Andy Samberg, baking stuff. Yes. I feel like we need to watch these together, Sarah, like in person. Mm-hmm. I know it's hard to work with our schedules, but I think it would be fun to watch it in person. Maybe we could even try baking something from the show.
Oh my gosh. I'm like just recording it.
Oh, absolutely. But also, I just want you to know that I am a terrible cook. Like, terrible.
I excel at everything I've ever baked and cooked because I follow the recipes exactly.
See, I'm the person who's like, maybe do I need this much? Because I don't have enough flour left. Can I just maybe eyeball it?
Oh, no. I am like, if they tell you to do something, you do it, bitch. You do it exactly as they say. Because I know that everything is written for a reason. Who am I to say if this ingredient or that ingredient isn't right or what I would use? I'm like, it all works as a piece. Mm-hmm. And if you follow the recipe, I haven't had a bad thing yet.
Everything I make sticks to the pan. So that's a problem. I bake the kids' birthday cakes every year now because during the pandemic, we had sort of started this. I should start calling it during quarantine because the pandemic is ongoing. So during quarantine, when we couldn't have birthday parties anymore, for the like with their friends, I would try to make it special by us making a cake. Which, if you know anything about the food that I cook, is not that special. But we would do it together,
Mhm.
and I bake it out of a box, so it turns out tasting fine. It's not up to me. It's really like assembly more than baking at that point. But my fucking cake always sticks to the pan. Last time I put flour in it, just like my sister said. She's like, put flour in it, butter it down, put flour in it, and like when I turned it upside down, it broke in half. I had to cover it up with the frosting.
You're not supposed to turn it upside down, I don't think.
Well, how else do you get
Do
it
you
out of the
do you
pan?
do you bake them in the pan that you can, like, unlatch it and kind of, like, pull it off? Like, pull it?
Are you talking about like a trapdoor pan?
Well,
Is there
okay,
is there a trapdoor in my pan that I didn't know about?
so there's these cake things
Mhm.
that, they have little
Yeah.
latches, and when you undo it, like, it pops out, and you can just, like, pull
Well, shit, that would've
pull
been
the pan
nice.
out.
No, I bake it in
Yeah.
one of those metal square things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And my sister said if you butter the shit out of it and then put flour on it, that the cake doesn't stick. But that was a
Well,
bold-faced
that
lie.
does work, but you're not supposed to flip them upside down. If you
Oh.
bake them in a pan, you just cut them in the pan. They stay in there.
But then how do you frost the sides? Okay.
That's
Maybe you need to
see,
help me bake the cake next time.
mhm.
I mean, I
If you
honestly
wanna
I
frost the
just
sides, you have to get one of those circular,
Oh. Well,
things.
I just cover up all my mistakes with frosting, which is kind of a
I mean,
metaphor for my life,
that's
really.
valid. Like,
Yeah.
I cover up my mistakes with frosting too.
Oh, well, then
Um,
we're all just doing the best we can.
we are.
It tastes good. Actually, I
Yeah,
was
that's the
really
thing.
impressed with my last cake. It was the one with the because Lucas loves zombies, and so it was like
Mhm.
a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting, and then I kind of put green sparkly sprinkles on it, like a zombie, and then I put eyeballs, like little sugary eyeballs, all over it, so it looked like the cake was looking at you with a bunch of eyes. I was pretty happy with it.
That's cute.
Well, the kids like baking the cake, and then they fight over who gets to crack the egg and all that stuff.
Aw,
I would not survive on
cute.
this show baking it though. They'd kick me out right away. They'd be like, "We're sorry, but you're very bad at this."
Oh, I'm not competitively good at baking. I just follow the recipes.
Well, let's definitely maybe we should try
We
baking
should bake, like
something.
we should bake something.
Okay, we'll do
We
that
should
when we
pick
watch
something
Baking It.
from the show,
Okay, we'll
'cause
bake some. Yes.
that's what my partner and I
Mhm.
do sometime, or that's what we used
Mhm.
to do. We would watch the Great British Baking Show, and
Mhm.
then we'd be like, "Ooh, that looks interesting. Let's put a twist in it and do it this way," and we'd, like, bake it.
Ooh, let's do that,
So,
and we'll
like,
record
yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. Okay, so that's all the news I have for Andy. Adam, strap in. I got a bunch. So here we go. Let me just read off the old ticker tape here. Okay, so 65, it has a release date. So that guy was full of shit about the fucking dinosaurs or whatever. 65 is actually in a most saucy move. They moved up the release date from May to April 2022.
They
Almost
were
like
like, "Listen."
they were like, "Let me tell you something." Actually, I believe the reason they changed the release date was that so that it wouldn't compete with, I think, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is being released now in May, and so they moved the release date so that they wouldn't have to compete with Doctor Strange. Several movies have submitted Adam for consideration for an Academy Award, including Annette, Best Actor Henry McHenry. Not Henry McHenry is submitted for an Oscar. It's his role. You get what I'm saying.
No, I think Henry
Hen-
McHenry should win.
Listen, if he
Mhm.
shows up as Henry McHenry in the green jacket, I would die. Like, maybe if he took on the persona of a character, he wouldn't be so uncomfortable at these things. Maybe that's what's
I
missing.
think so, yeah. Just don't take on that persona, or maybe any of his characters. Maybe he shouldn't be any of his characters.
I would love to see Adam Sackler in his
Yeah.
late 30s
Oh gosh.
at the Academy Awards.
How old was he when he first got that part? Was he like 25 or
Yeah, I think he
something?
was in his mid to late 20s. I believe
Okay.
the first one came out in 2012, so I'm going to say late 20s, mid to late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, so best actor Annette, and also this was so we were wondering as a group whether he would be submitted for best supporting actor or best actor in The Last Duel. He has been submitted as best actor for The Last Duel. Which he was great in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, who would be the lead actor if not him
Well, Jodie
and
Comer,
Matt?
I
Jodie Comer.
think.
I think all three of them
Yeah, I guess so,
are
but
like
not.
leads.
Yeah, definitely not Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's definitely more
Ben Affleck
supporting. But
supporting.
yeah, 3 POVs. I guess that makes sense. Jodie Comer stood out to me as the lead, the protagonist. If I had to give it a protagonist, it would be Jodie Comer's character. So best actor, Last Duel, and it hasn't happened yet, but it is expected that he will also be submitted for best actor for The House of Gucci.
So can they pick one, or do they have? Would he? Is it
The
possible to
Academy
be
has to
like?
decide on who goes in the category, but they have given it. They have had actors in multiple roles before.
Really?
Well, I think what tends to happen though is it tends to split the vote. If you have the same actor but in different roles, then so it's
I
probably
see.
better if they
Yeah.
pick one.
They could just pick a actor based on how they acted that year.
Just
Like
give
that.
Adam an Oscar for trying the hardest,
Well,
frankly.
like
No one's trying harder than him right now.
when I was in high school, for the banquet at the end of the year, they'd give out best actor and best actress, and they
I
wouldn't give it
remember
out
that
for
those
roles.
yeah.
They'd give it out for just as an actor, as an
Maybe the
actress.
Academy should do that. Because
He's
actors
had a
really
big
should
year.
be he's had a big year, and I feel like but then would it then become like now actors feel like they got to have like multiple roles to even be considered? Do you think it would now be like everybody's like, well shit, Adam has been submitted for 3 things, I got to be submitted for 3 things, and then before you know it everybody's trying to be Adam Driver, and everybody can't be Adam Driver. There's
Everybody
only
can.
one Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep and Adam Driver, nobody's doing it like them.
Nope.
So if he was only, let me ask you this: if he's only, we haven't seen House of Gucci yet, obviously, but if you had to pick which one he would actually be in the best actor category for, which do you think it should be?
Annette.
I think so too. I mean, no one could have played that role but him.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
In that, like, I hated that movie, but
I know you did.
I admit that he was brilliant in that
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Yeah, no one could have played that role but Adam. So yeah, I think Annette. But is Annette too weird for the Academy with a bunch of stuffy old white men?
Maybe.
Are they going to look at Annette and go, I'm uncomfortable with this?
WTF?
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable with the amount of pussy eating in this movie. I'm not sure if I can vote for this.
Aw.
I know, I feel bad for them too. Okay, so those are the awards that he's up for at the moment. Or not up for, but the Academy is considering him for. November 8th, there's his organization, Arts in the Armed Forces, is doing a performance, which she will be there for. I think John Turturro is going to be there as well as a special guest. And what else we got here? He's going to be, so Gucci promotion has started because House of Gucci, of course, is wide release at the end of this month. And so he'll be on Stephen Colbert. I couldn't find a date, so if you know, tweet at us at Adam Andy Pod. When is he going to be on Colbert? If you know, he's going to be on Colbert. That has been announced, but I don't know when. I couldn't find a date. However, last night, as of this recording, so we're recording this on the 4th. On the 3rd, the House of Gucci played at the Academy Museum in LA last night, followed by a Q&A with Adam, Lady Gaga, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, and Selma Hayek. And also Ridley Scott was there, and the writer was there as well, the screenwriter. I did watch parts of the Q&A. They were not allowed to, no one was supposed to film it, but people did film it on their phones, so I saw a bit of it. It didn't spoil the movie at all, by the way. So I don't know. Do you have any questions for me about anything I heard at the Q&A?
Sure. What did you hear?
Well, first of all, Lady Gaga is a delight. I love her so much. She was just just a bright patch of sunshine. But she talked about and Adam looked very grumpy sitting next to her. I mean, they were the embodiment of that meme of like, have you seen the meme of like Elton John and like Richard Madden is sitting next to him in a car dressed in black, and Elton John is just like it's an actor playing Elton John. I don't remember what his name is now, but he's got all these feathers sticking out. Have you seen this meme?
With
Guy playing Elton John. It's from the Rocket Man movie. And then
Yeah.
the guy sitting next to him. It was literally
I
the
sent you that meme.
You did. Oh, that's right. You did. Because that's me and Chris. So he looked very grumpy and maybe sleepy.
Yeah.
Like he was not on LA time. He was like, it's late for me. I don't like these things. But that's kind of what he looked. But he you could tell that they had a really good working relationship. Like some of the things that they were asked were how'd they prepare? Like, did they work on their chemistry? And Adam was basically like, no, I mean, we didn't have to work on it. We just did the work. We were there. She was basically kind of said she was a great scene partner. She was always really present. Like, not that they didn't have to work on the movie, but that they didn't have to like work to
Yeah, that
work
question
together.
makes me
It's weird.
Comfortable.
Yeah, I don't understand what
like,
work
why
on
would
your
you want to
chemistry
work on your
means.
chemistry? Like
either you have it or you don't.
And like also he's married.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like
Yeah.
that.
Actually, then you would like the expression on his face that after
Was
they
he
asked
like-
him that questions, that's exactly the face he made, Sarah. He made that exact face. He made that face, and then he looked at Lady Gaga and he was like, we didn't have to work on it. Like, but
what was her expression?
she started gasping and giggling, and she said, I can't breathe. That's what she said.
Really?
Yes. And then he turned it into a question. What he did is he took that question and he made it about how focused that she is in a scene and everyone else in the movie. He was like, this cast is focused. He's like, a movie is set up to fail. You have to fight against the equipment. You got to fight against time. And it's always really hard.
Gosh, she's such a downer.
No, he said this.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a downer.
But like, he's not wrong.
The movie is set up to fail.
It is that he's not wrong. I mean, it's hard to make a good movie on a big set like that, right?
Yeah.
And so basically what he said is that movies are set up to fail because of all these reasons, but the cast that he was working with were not thinking about other things they should be doing. Their heads were completely in the story, and that it was him saying that everybody had worked so well together and was so focused that it made it something you didn't have to work too hard at. I think that was how he turned that around.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga praised him multiple times. She said, I didn't want anyone else to be in this role except for Adam. And she also, while he was babbling about whatever his response was to that question, she was like, Adam's a good person. She said that like while he was talking, and you could tell he got really embarrassed. Anyway, he got embarrassed every time Gaga was like, Adam's funny. Adam's this. Adam is a great actor. And she kept saying these things, and he was like, like a very awkward little.
Yeah, if I were his wife, I'd be like,
no. I don't want to mischaracterize this. They were completely professional. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, but Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, and there was all this weird tension, and it was not like that at all. Like they looked like besties. That's what they looked like. They looked like besties who were supporting each other, and I did not catch any kind of weird relationship kind of vibes like that, if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah. I guess I just, now that I'm in a relationship and now that I've been offered roles that involve romantic relationships, like I'm just like really like I don't like that
I can
stuff.
see
like,
how that's tough.
Creeps me out.
Yeah, I definitely felt like that at one point. I don't think it's ever easy to do roles with any kind of physical intimacy. I think that's always tough, but I'm also I think personally at the point where I'm very like not I don't have any uncertainty about my relationship, and I know that acting is like an intimacy scene isn't any more real than Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk. You know what I mean? They're coordinate, and a scene about intimacy is coordinated in the same way that a stunt is coordinated. You know, which is there's nothing to say, not to say that people should do things that they're not comfortable with. I'm just saying that just because people are acting doesn't mean that there's anything going on. That's all. It's all fake. Everything is fake. We're all acting. It's all fake. You don't
Yeah.
seem convinced.
No, because like you're actually touching someone else.
And that's
Like your
something
lips
that
are actually touching their lips. Your
sure,
arms are actually around them. Like it's not
but
just
Joanne's an actor too.
I know.
So I think they both understand this. I would be more upset about someone developing like some deep relationship with a person outside of my marriage. That's
Well,
more
that's the
scary to
thing
me.
is because I tie emotion so
Mhm.
closely to physical intimacy.
Mhm.
Like I could
And you know
not
that.
develop
That's your comfort zone
feelings. Yeah, so it's like it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
for you.
Once for me,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't feel that way. Um I remember I don't know if you remember the sketch, but there was like a sketch that we did where Andy and I had to like make out for a prolonged period on stage, and it was not sexy at all because it's comedy and we were just mashing our faces together. But I
Yeah,
assure you there was absolutely nothing arousing about that whatsoever. It
yeah,
was just I, I don't I like I don't I think when I'm in a role, like I am performing in that moment, and I'm not personally tied to what's going on. That is a performance that is happening. It doesn't mean that you don't draw upon certain real emotions in your imagination to get to a place that you need to be, but I wouldn't that I don't think there's anything truthful about it. Whereas if people make a connection during a film, it's not because of the intimacy scenes that they're in. It's probably because of all the chitting and chatting between takes and like hanging out on location and being stuck at the same hotel for 8 weeks. That's where you build intimacy with the human person, not the person in the scene. When you're in a scene, you're working. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, I know.
But nonetheless, I understand how you feel, and you have to, as an actor, you have to do what you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah,
But I'll send you some links to the Q&A. They looked like two people who are just being supportive of each other's work, and it almost felt like I think Lady Gaga was just expressing her admiration for someone that maybe she considers a friend, maybe she just considers them a collaborator at this point. I don't really know, but they definitely seemed, like people that were getting along, and not like I think Bradley. I don't know if there was something going on with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper underneath all of the whatever. I think they were maybe playing with people a bit because that was a movie about this like whirlwind romance, and I think that they were playing with that in public at award shows and whatnot. Not in behind the scenes, but like in that performance at the Academy Awards. I think that was part of the show because Lady Gaga is a performer outside of a movie set. Like she's a little different. When Adam Driver walks off a movie set, he's just Adam Driver. When Lady
hmm
Gaga walks out her door, she's still Lady Gaga. She's
yeah,
only Stephanie when she's like inside of her house and no one's looking at
yeah,
her. you know?
yeah.
So it's very different. I imagine that's exhausting to have to put that face on all the time, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely Lady Gaga and Adam Driver are both people that I love to watch, but I
hmm
would not want to be friends with them
Oh, you think
because they
so? I mean, I
seem
don't know them enough to.
exhausting.
Oh,
They seem
you think
they
so?
seem dramatic
Well, they're actors. You're friends with
and
actors, Sarah. You're friends with nothing but actors.
no, I know, but them specifically. I'm not talking
Okay.
about actors in general. I'm just saying both of them have very big e- e- energy that
I see.
I don't know. I would
All right.
I don't
I'll
know.
just say this would obviously we're just talking about this would never happen in real life, but if I could go like if I could hang out with Lady Gaga and like get dinner or like, go shoe shopping, I absolutely would. She looks fun as hell. She looks fun and cool and carefree. And I don't know that she's like, I'm sure she's not like that all the time, but and she's hella interesting. I would absolutely hang out with her. Adam would scare the shit out of me. I feel like I would be worried that I would say something, I would make a dumb joke and embarrass myself. So I don't, that's not Adam's problem. That's my problem. I feel like I would literally just be like, I have to make him laugh so that he'll think I'm interesting. And then I would say something dumb and he would look at me and I would be like, oof,
I feel like
sorry. I'm sorry I'm like this.
I feel like I would tease him.
Yeah.
Like I would just like insult him jokingly.
Mhm.
And
then he'd cry. And then what would you do, Sarah?
I'd be like, suck it up, bitch. Just kidding. But Lady Gaga, there's something fake about her. Like,
okay,
it's performy. I've never seen her off. Like, I watched the documentary about her, and maybe that's to protect herself.
Yeah.
But like, if I've ever seen you off, like, I don't trust you.
Well, it's not. She doesn't belong to us.
That's true.
She's allowed to be who she is on her own time, however she wants.
That's true.
And if I was a superstar like her, I feel like you'd have to put on.
You'd have to protect yourself.
Yeah, you'd have to put on something that is like, this is me in public. And when I'm by myself, I'm me. And if a camera is rolling, you're still in public.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a documentary.
I think there's something to be said, though, for being
well, Adam is real 24/7, and you seemed like you don't want to hang out with him either. It's like you don't want either one.
Grumpy.
Of course he's grumpy. He's a big, tall, grumpy, handsome man who just wants to act and not have to talk about it afterwards.
Yes. He's like, just let me act.
He's like, I just want to be in movies. Why do you keep asking me all these questions?
So funny.
And I get that. I'm the opposite. That's not me though. If I were like I love the attention. I love the attention. Please ask me.
Do you think he's
everything.
On the autism spectrum?
I don't know. I think it's unfair to race to diagnose anybody as anything that we don't know. I think that it seems that he's socially introverted and probably doesn't like all this press.
He doesn't need all the hoopla.
I don't think that's why he does
he's very
this.
focused on the acting.
Yes.
And that's what he cares about. And he's not as interested in the social aspect of it. I don't know.
And that's fine. He does great work. And he's just a deeply sensitive person, which I think you have to be a great actor. Maybe he's a deeply sensitive person who feels uncomfortable with all the attention. And maybe Lady Gaga is a deeply sensitive person who feels like she has to be on all the time, either to protect herself or because that's what people expect of her.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not enough. I don't follow her career enough to know if there are interviews where personally, I found her to be very real and genuine at that Q&A last night. I mean, it was still a Q&A and you're still kind of on, but I thought that she sounded like very passionate about the project. She says that her and Adam spoke in their accents all the time. So they both basically spoke in those accents for like 9 months or whatever, all the time. She said she never stop speaking in that accent because I think she was afraid she would lose it if she had to go in and out.
And when you say all the time, you mean like on set, or do you mean like when she went to McDonald's?
She says she was speaking in that accent 24/7.
Oh God, it's exhausting.
Well, I mean, that's why she's Lady Gaga and we're us.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
I don't think you get to that point without that level of dedication. Not that I feel like I'm not pleased with my work as an artist, but I'm not Lady Gaga, and I think you do have to have some kind of level of commitment that's beyond perhaps what I'm willing to commit emotionally or physically to a role to get to the place where she is. Mm-hmm. I think that's it. Would you like to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Okay.
Shall we?
I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about Game of Boyles, which is the episode 7 of season 8.
Well, it starts off with a series of hugs.
At first, I thought I had put on the wrong episode of television. I was like,
I love you,
mhm.
blank.
Oh yeah,
I love you, and hug, hug.
they're all giving very prolonged hugs. Everyone's wearing beige.
Oh
Boyles
God,
wear
I didn't
beige.
pick up on that.
Oh yeah, no. You go back and watch it. Every single Boyle was wearing beige.
Beige Boyle. Okay, so it ends in a hug that ends tragically in, is it Papa's death?
Pappy.
What is his name?
Pappy dies, but at least he died doing what he loved.
Hugging.
Giving someone a hug.
Yes.
Because a Boyle always, what was the family motto?
Oh my God, that a Boyle always says I love you.
Oh yes, a Boyle always says I love you.
That was on everything. It was like cross stitch on every pillow, every wall hanging.
Not a lot of
said.
female Boyles prominently featured in this episode. There was one who got a couple lines. I would have liked to seen. I feel like there's a missed opportunity for like a female character, like a more prominent like female Boyle, that they really missed that opportunity there.
Nicole, Boyles are boys.
Well, there were women there.
Right there
they
in
had
the
a bunch. There was a bunch there.
Oh.
They were there. They just didn't have lines. There was one who had lines.
Oh.
There was one during the interrogation scene who had lines.
I don't remember seeing any women.
They were there in all the crowd scenes, when all the cousins were assembled.
Crowd scenes.
And the party scene. Anytime there was more than like two people there were women there. They just were in the background as furniture. They weren't speaking.
Boo.
Okay, before we get too deep into this episode, I just want to tell you, I think this is one of my favorite episodes of the season.
Really?
Yes. The jokes were great. They were so
great.
funny. The writing was fast and snappy. And I know we're going to get to the details, but I don't care that it's basically Shroot Farm. I absolutely loved the Boyles. I loved all the character actors. I thought it was hilarious. And also, I really loved the B story of Holt signing up for a dating site. That was amazing. I laughed so hard.
Cute. I love the Holt thing. Oh my gosh. The different like PhD, like
pretty
in this
huge dick.
case, it stands for pretty huge dick. And then I assume that MD stands for medium dick.
Holt signing up for like online dating is like a joke I didn't know that I needed. The fact that they were all like assuming what he'd want. They're like, oh, he's a chiropractor, or when Holt's like, are you kidding me? I'd never go out with this guy. His watch has a fabric band.
Yeah.
Or what did Amy say?
All those things.
Amy said, oh no, he's wearing loafers. Holt basically thinks of those as flip-flops.
Yeah.
The jokes were so good in this episode.
So specific. Yeah.
So yeah, Pappy dies, and now Boyles is going to the funeral, and he brings Jake and Terry with him. That's kind of the the incident that kicks off,
and it's literally the plot of not Knives Out. That was my problem with this episode, is it was Knives Out, just verbatim, like without all the detail. Like it was like the gist of not Knives Out in Shroot Farms. Like I was just like,
so you didn't think it was original enough?
No.
I had the opposite reaction. I love Knives Out, which I know you do too. You've seen it, right? Wait, did we watch it together?
I've seen it like 3 times.
Okay.
I don't know if we watched it together.
Did we?
No. Okay. I watched it with someone else.
Oh, you watched it with someone else, did you?
Yes. No, a friend that I go to the
a friend that you go
movies with. This was actually the last movie I saw before the pandemic. I saw it in December of 2019.
So I actually had the opposite reaction, which was I immediately once I caught on that this was a Knives Out sort of parody, I was like, yes, I'm 100% on board with this. It was very funny. I loved all the characters. I wrote some of my favorite jokes. It was stuff like when Boyle was like, I have to bring a coffin, and they're like, why do you have to bring a coffin? He's like, well, I brought one to my Nana's funeral, and it was a big hit, and now I'm the coffin cousin. And I was like, who is these jokes? Like, these jokes are so spot on. So, first of all, before we talk too much about, as one would expect, they get there. Jake has been on suspension, which they frankly didn't really deal with very much other than in this episode. He's on suspension. And so Jake is now very antsy and he wants a case. And so, as Jake tends to do, he insensitively makes this about him
Mm-hmm.
and turns this into him trying to find out if there was like some kind of foul play to Pappy's death. And this sort of that's where the knives out of it all comes in. Would you like to be a Boyle? Would you like to be a part of the Boyle family, Sarah?
No.
No, but I thought you liked love and
No.
hugs and
I do like
feelings.
love. It felt very forced, though.
Mm.
It didn't feel like genuine. It felt like, I mean, even the whole thing of all the different accoutrement having Boyles always say I love you. It felt
Mhm.
very like Boyles always say I love you because they have to, because they're being forced to, as opposed to
Mm.
something they genuinely feel. Like
Mhm.
it didn't feel, I don't know. Like it didn't feel
It
real.
felt
It
like
felt
performative.
like Ned Flanders.
Oh, yes, I can see that. They were very Ned Flandersy. I feel like what made me laugh about this was that they were able to take Boyle, the character, and make all of these other Boyles like an id of Boyle. You know, like they're all his characteristics but amplified. They're all wearing beige. They're obsessed with the sourdough, you
Oh
know,
my gosh, the
mother
sourdough
sourdough.
starter.
And they're
Grandmother
all like
starter.
deeply like have to express their love so aggressively. And I think all of that made me laugh a lot. Um there were a lot of moments in oh god, can we talk about my favorite line in this whole episode? Cuz it came they knew it was a good one and they brought it back multiple times. So while they're interviewing everyone to see cuz they think it was like what's his name? Lyndon?
Langdon?
Langdon.
Lyndon? Sheldon?
It's
I don't know.
Lyndon Boyle.
Lyndon.
They think that he's the one, and he's kind of the what was Chris Evans' character in Knives Out. That they think it's
Ooh, they thought I was that guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of that guy, but in this
Mhm.
version of the story. And they're interviewing
Yeah.
everybody because they're trying to, Jake believes that he's the one who did it. And he talks about how at Pappy's birthday they had a roast pig that they ate from snout to anus.
I know. Yeah, no.
You didn't like that?
No. I don't like
I know you didn't, but
I
the
don't like
joke.
anuses.
You don't like anuses? Come on, snout to anus. That was a good line.
Yeah,
A-
that it was a good line.
and they used it a bunch of times. They knew.
Yeah.
God, that was my favorite. I also love when they said things like this. I feel like the writers were just like running with this so hard. They couldn't stop. When they're talking about Pappy's birthday party and the cousins are that one cousin keeps going, yeah, everybody was giving I was giving my cousin an HJ.
HJ. It's
And
like,
then
what?
he's
A
like,
head job.
head job. Everyone calls it that, right?
Head massage.
It was just stuff like that. All the little things. It's like all those lines that usually Boyle gets. They now had like 5 people they could give those lines to, and it was just like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. It
Yeah.
really worked for me. I don't know if it worked for you, but I wouldn't want to see a bunch of episodes like this. Like I couldn't watch a whole show about the Boyle family, but this episode really worked for me. I was
Also, Boyle
cackling.
is like my least favorite character besides Hitchcock and Scully.
Mm.
Um,
So you don't like the buffoons?
no.
They're buffoons. They're clowns.
Yeah, I don't like the clowns.
Oh no, I like the
Um,
clowns.
so I mean, he says funny things,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I agreed. I wouldn't want to see like a bunch of them. But there were a lot of good jokes. Trying to think if there was something else about lots of cousin jokes.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a lot of like what Boyle does, which is say something that's sexually suggestive, but he means it in a platonic way. Like there's a lot of those jokes, just like repeatedly.
yeah.
Um, So I struggled with Jake in this episode. I don't know if you felt that too, but I just really struggled with. I know Jake often does this where he makes something about him and he butts his nose in and gets carried away, but I was just like, "Oh, this is like his grandfather died." And like,
Yeah.
Jake is just like treating this like his project, and
Yeah.
it was hard for me to be on board with Jake in this episode. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote down a bunch of times, Jake, what the fuck? Like over and over and over again. Cause I was just like, what is he doing? Like he kept, I don't know. He was like extra Jake this episode for me.
Yeah, I have to say, I Jake is also not a favorite character of mine. Basically
Mm.
like the women
Hmm.
and Holt,
Hmm. I mean, I like
sometimes
Jake. I just
Terry.
found him frustrating in this
I
episode.
find him frustrating all the time.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. So I didn't find him any more frustrating than usual
Mm.
in
Okay.
this episode.
I don't know. Maybe I was just really sensitive to Boyle and his like. I'm not exactly sure why I was so frustrated by him, but basically, like they, he thinks that Pappy was poisoned, so then he finds rat poison in the barn, and I don't know. I just watched spoilers for Midnight Mass. I've been watching Midnight Mass, and there's a scene where an animal eats rat poison by accident, or it's not an accident, but they eat rat poison, and what happened in Tracks. Remember Tracks?
Yeah.
And so I also was thinking about that, and like I know that I wish they had found something else for to be the reason that I mean rat poison is a very violent death. And I get that what they were trying to do. I don't know. The rat poison was like triggering for me
Oh.
because I was thinking about other movies where I've seen animals die of rat poison, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
god. And maybe it's because Midnight Mass was so fresh for me. But I was thinking about, oh god, Pappy died of rat poison because he drank the poison nutria milk, and then the nutria died of rat. I was like, ugh, like it just upset me.
Yeah.
So there was that.
The
But anyway,
nutria.
I
Oh.
know they were so cute. They looked like little
Have you
capybaras.
ever seen nutria in real life?
No, but I want
I
to hug
saw
one.
I saw them in Canada, I think, and in Washington, like the
Mm-hmm.
state.
Okay.
They're
So
very cute.
cute. So
Very
cute.
cute.
I follow a capybara. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Capybara, yeah.
I follow a capybara like Twitter account where they just post pictures of cute capybaras all the time.
Oh,
You should
Nicole,
follow
that's
it.
so cute.
Anyway, so they think that he got poisoned by this one boil, and then it turns out that it's not the capybara, the nutria.
Nutria.
But they have to do a DNA test because they find like a hair on the rat
Yeah.
poison. And so then there's this plot twist where we find out that Boyle is not a Boyle. He's actually
A half boil.
he's not a Boyle at all. His mother isn't a Boyle. His dad
Right.
is a Boyle. So
Yeah.
he's a Boyle by association,
Yeah.
an adopted Boyle, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did you feel about that?
I'd be glad if I were adopted. My family is messed up, man.
Oh gosh! Wow. Okay.
Sorry. No, I think that I think he was very upset that that he
Well, he's
was
built his whole
not.
identity on this.
Yeah, being a Boyle was very important to him. However, I just like we hadn't learned that about him yet. Like I feel like that was introduced in this
You mean
episode
that
that he was
he's not a
proud to be a
Boyle?
Boyle.
I would agree with you that I think they overemphasized his importance of it, but it is something they talk about a lot in the other seasons. And I think when you get there, you'll see that it is actually not out of the blue.
Okay.
He constantly quotes different Boyles in his family. He talks about the Boyles do this or do that. He definitely identifies strongly with his lineage as a Boyle, but
Okay.
there was something about it that did feel very like last season of a television show, kind of where they're like, we got to throw this thing in that really changes things for this character. And I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about him not being a Boyle. That's like, I'm not sure I felt about it, but I guess what I did like about it was the one true Boyle thing where he had to undo the because the sourdough starter, I don't know, I don't think we got to that episode, but there is an episode about the Boyle sourdough starter in an earlier season where how important it is. Did we watch that one yet?
No, we've only been in
Okay.
season 1.
So you'll see an episode when we get back to the beginning, where the sourdough starter is like this really important thing in the Boyles family. And so I thought it was cool that they brought that back around and that he like, because the mother starter was like a whole episode. So this is like the grandmother of that sourdough. It was like a King Arthur kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we talk about the next episode, I did want to devote a little bit of time to talking about the bee story, if that's okay, because that was one of my favorite parts. So basically, Holt and Kevin are not back together yet, they're still not back together because Holt sees his therapy sessions with Kevin as a chess match that he's trying to win. So what did you think about that, about Holt and his whole theory about the relationship being a chess match?
I thought it was very funny that I think it was Rosa who was like, "That's too much math for therapy." What was that for Rosa? Or was that
Yes,
Amy?
Oh, it was Rosa.
Okay, yeah. So it was like, that seems like too much math for therapy. And he's like, well, they're talking about percentages, like how, like what percentage, what's his name?
It was Kevin wanted
Kevin.
Holt to scale back on his work by a certain percentage. Yeah.
Yes.
But then Holt fired that therapist and got a therapist who's more into numbers.
Who's a physicist. Literally a physicist.
God, the jokes were so good in this episode. I
also love. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I will say that I disagreed with Kevin's thing about work. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that a partner should dictate what their partner does for their job or how much time they spend on, like, they do what they need to do. Like, yes, if your partner is spending like 99.5% of their time working, it's like, well, how can we like scale back to maybe like 80%? I don't know. Like,
well, but I hear you, but these are two characters who thrive on very clear boundaries and definitions of things. Also, I think they clear that up a bit in the next episode about how Kevin really feels about Holt's work. Because we're just hearing about this from Holt. We're not actually hearing what Kevin's opinion is. And also, I do think it's fair if Kevin is like, you're working too much and I never see you. Like, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think they clear that up exactly what he means by that in the next episode. But also, like, not to get into the next episode, Holt leaves their wedding day to go work on a case, which is not cool.
No.
So Kevin's right about that,
Yeah.
But so basically Rosa and Amy get Holt to sign up for a dating site because they believe that if Holt sees how bad it is out there, that he'll immediately realize what he's got with Kevin and he'll
It is
give
bad
up on
out there, man. It is bad.
Yeah, I can't say that I can't say that I wish that I was out there. I'm definitely happy to not. I'm definitely happy to know where my sex is coming from every night. Like I am fed. I don't have to worry about going out and hunter gathering sex. Like I know where it is at all times. So I'm pretty happy about that. I love when they get to the date when Holt is like. Again, I'm sorry. I wrote down so many of my favorite lines. It's like, they're like, oh, he's late. And Holt's like, well, ordinarily with coworkers, I don't excuse tardiness, but with a date, I like it when a man's 2 minutes late because I like a bad boy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Poor Todd.
Yes,
poor Todd.
There's an adult named Todd.
I know, and then he goes out on. Then he later calls him Sexy Todd. He's like, I hit the wrong thing.
How do I get back to Sexy Todd?
What was he supposed to? What was it? What was the? Instead of swiping, they had something else. It was like,
it was. Oh fuck! It was dang or dang
or dang. Yeah, that was really good.
He's like, I don't know.
But yeah, so he then reverses it on them and pretends like he's going on the date just to make a point.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. At the end, man, somebody better give Andre Brower a an Emmy this season, because this is literally like the third time this season that he has given a monologue that has made tears come out of my eyes. Like when he starts talking about Kevin and like what Kevin means to him and how he realized that he wanted to win so bad that he's losing the thing that matters most to him. Like I just, wow, the sincerity and, just what a great performance. I don't know how you felt about that, but I was just really moved by his performance in
I
this
don't
episode.
remember that scene.
It's after the date. They're sitting there. It's right before the chase through in the rain, where like Kevin comes to him and it's raining.
Yeah, I remembered the rain scene because that was funny. I don't. I guess I'm not looking for
Serious
heartfelt
moments.
moments in this show, so I kind of don't remember moments like that. I know that sounds weird, but they don't stick out to me. I know he
I
does a great performance. I'm thinking more of he should win an Emmy for probably the next episode where he pretends to be
Oh God,
sexy
that
for
was
that old
so funny.
woman.
Oh
Like,
my God. But yeah, he really broke my heart and then put it back together. The kiss in the rain, I squealed. I was so happy that they got back together. I feel like we don't see men kissing each other enough on television.
yeah.
It was beautiful. It was passionate. It was loving. And I deeply love those characters. And I'm really happy to see them get a happy ending together.
Yeah, they played the rom-com music and made sure it like
The
was like
spinny camera.
pouring down rain.
Yeah, they kept Kevin and Holt apart a long time, and then they really made it worth it when they got back together. So I think this was one of my favorite. This and PB&J favorite episodes of the season so far for me. I don't know. I know you didn't feel the same necessarily, but I loved it. Do you want to talk about Renewal?
Yeah.
Okay. We get a noise in the cold open from Jake.
What was the cold open again?
The cold open was basically Holt telling them that he was retiring. That he had decided to retire so he could spend more time with Kevin, and that they were doing I think they were doing the renewal, the vow renewal, and he was going to retire, and then now Jake has to keep the secret from Amy, which I feel like they had set it up so that Jake would have moments of awkwardness where he would have to lie to Amy, and then they didn't do anything with that.
No.
Yeah, what was that about? I was like, I thought I was going to see Jake have to make up a bunch of lies to Amy, and like I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of comedy between Amy and Jake this season, and I'm missing it.
No.
I mean, great scenes with Amy and Rosa. Amy had some great scenes with Terry this season, or this episode. But I was like, wait, there's comedy here between them, and we're not using it. But whatever.
I think the show believes that married people are boring.
I
I'm
agree.
not saying I believe that,
that,
but I think the show believes that.
I think every show believes that, and I hate it. Because there's plenty to joke with, and you don't always have to do it in like a family comedy. Like it doesn't always have to be just like a fucking family comedy. You know what I mean? So Holt and Kevin are back together. They're getting the vows renewed. This was a very plotty episode. Like I think last episode was very character driven, and this episode was very like, we have to get this laptop back from this guy, and these people are going to do this thing, and these people are going to do this thing. So it seemed very like a lot of plot going on. We had a lot of Cheddar, so I feel like you finally got to see Cheddar.
Oh, Cheddar's so cute.
How did you feel about Cheddar?
I love Cheddar. What was the part
so
that was so cute?
Oh, when Rosa and Cheddar were staring each other down.
No, when someone brought up a bone and Holt was like, bone? Bone?
It's like, he's not some common street dog. Yeah. Oh, because Rose was like, we'll just distract him with a bone. That was hilarious.
I just loved his reaction to that. That was like melodrama.
I love him so much. Please give him an Emmy. I felt like it was a strange choice that Kevin had been wanting Holt to choose him over his career all season. And then now they're back together and immediately we're betraying Kevin's trust by going on some kind of heist. I thought that was a little strange.
Yeah.
I was feeling it led to some good comedy, but
strange.
I was feeling very bad for Kevin, and he was very forgiving, and that was kind of surprising to me. But I guess they both realized
want to work it out.
Yeah, but I was just like, really? Like the very next episode, we're gonna betray Kevin's trust this way? Okay. We got a lot more Billy Joel jokes.
Oh my gosh.
We had why don't you talk about the what were they air conditioning repairmen? Like, what were they supposed to be? They have to go get a laptop from O'Sullivan, the union guy, because he's trying to hack the police reform program that Holt and Amy have been working on.
Well, Holt was pretending to be like a seducer kind of person of this old
Well, I don't remember exactly how they got there. They were supposed to be repair guys, but then I guess the old woman kind of expressed some kind of sexual interest in Holt, and so he had to pretend like he was this sexy. He had to like unzip his, jumpsuit.
Yeah, that was a great performance.
Oh gosh, yes, it was kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie. It was unintentionally hot.
Yeah,
secret thirst to Andre Braugher for that, all that. I want to see more old ladies finding things sexy. Why can't old women in their 80s? Why don't we ever see them? Like, women in their 80s are sexually attracted to people, right?
Sometimes not.
I know, but I'm just saying,
women who have hysterectomies sometimes or a lot of times don't feel that way anymore.
Sure, but I think that there are a lot of women who've had, I'm not going to name names, but I know people have had hysterectomies and they are very much sexually active. So I don't think that is, also I guess what I'm saying is I was like, wow, it reminds me of I don't know if you've ever seen The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
But there was that older, she wasn't in her 80s, but she was older and she was with a younger man. And I was like, this is nice. I feel like people don't suddenly dry up and no longer have passion or sexual attraction to people after the age of 60. So why I don't know. It was just something I was thinking about. I mean, I know they were using it for humorous purposes in this episode, but I was like, you know what? Women in their 80s still want to fuck, and we should let them show that on screen. Why not? I promise you, when I'm in my 80s, I'm still going to want to fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sarah's like, no, I plan to fuck until I'm about 55, maybe 56, and then we're closing this ride down.
Maybe, I don't know.
What if we're still doing this podcast then, Sarah?
Then not this podcast. We'll be doing some kind of podcast.
Oh, well, if these actors keep working, I don't see why we couldn't keep doing this podcast.
It's true.
Anyway. So Terry and Amy, I got a little confused there. So they've got to get his thumbprint, but then I thought that, Amy is upset because she finds out that Holt is retiring by accident. And then they have to get the thumbprint from O'Sullivan. But I thought that what they were upset about at first was that he'd given them money. And I was like, shouldn't you guys be more concerned with the fact that in trying to take this man's laptop, you took money from him? I feel like that's really the more concerning thing in a police operation where you're trying to steal the union guy's laptop. I don't know. That seemed especially sketchy, but I guess that wasn't what they were worried about. So the vows. They're re-saying their vows. Basically, um, Holt is talking about how to him, at first when they got married, he thought of it more as like a legal contract, but now he sees a marriage for what it is, which is a give and take and all that sort of thing. I don't know. I found that to be very moving. Again, I'm just very invested in this relationship between these two dorks. And I was just really happy. I feel like a lot of shows use weddings as a way to kind of close out a season, but this felt like earned to me. I don't know if you felt that, but after everything they've been through, it felt like it was earned.
Yeah.
So the police reform program gets approved. Holt gets promoted to deputy commissioner of the reform, and Amy gets promoted to chief.
I don't know what any of those roles mean, though.
Well, they're bigger roles. They're bigger roles. So it means that Amy is moved up from sergeant to chief. Amy does her dork dance, which I absolutely love. And now Jake and Amy have to figure out how they're going to juggle parenting and Amy's new job. So I assume that's going to be what the next episode is about. Did you have any final thoughts on Renewal? It seemed like an episode that was setting us up for the finale to me.
My favorite parts of any episode are always Holt and his partner.
Yes.
I just love Holt. Holt is my favorite character.
I get that. I feel like you guys would be friends. I feel like you guys would be good friends.
I think he's very uptight, but I think that the actor is very funny. Mm-hmm. And the jokes that they write for him are like the best jokes.
And I think it's because he really excels at that deadpan delivery.
Yeah.
I think we didn't really talk about it, but I also wanted to highlight Andy. He had a nice scene where he's talking to Holt about Amy and how like whenever he has a difficult decision to make with Amy, they do it together, and that it's hard to make these decisions. But when he looks at Amy,
yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, he just knows the right thing to do. And I can't say that I have that kind of synergy with my own partner, but I definitely love the sentiment. And I thought Andy did a really good job with that scene.
Yeah.
I always like to see Jake's love for Amy. I'd like to see more of it. I know we only have 2 episodes left, but yeah. I liked Renewal. I think the parts with Kevin and Holt were and Kevin and Holt and Jake going on their little where they were doing their bit where they were stuck in the basement. All of that was very good.
Don't you find it funny that Kevin's last name is Costner?
I did. That made me laugh too. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, it felt like but it did feel like we were kind of setting up the dominoes for the next episode, which I believe, not that we're looking to that because we're not doing it next, but I'm pretty sure the last 2 episodes are a 2-part finale, I think. Did you have any final thoughts on Renewal? No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to do us for these 2 episodes. Sarah, are you ready to say goodbye to the 9-9? It looks like we're going to be saying goodbye to them in the next 2 episodes, but then hello to them again when we go back to the beginning.
We're going to say goodbye to them in season 7.
Yeah, you're right. Well, do you think we'd watch season 8 again just to get it with fresh eyes, or you're like, no? No?
I don't think so. I mean,
do you know how long it's going to take us to get to season 8?
I think I'll watch them again, but I don't think we should discuss them on air again.
Okay. Well, you know what? Tweet at us at AdamAndyPod. When Sarah and I, because Sarah, we were going, 4 episodes at a time?
Yeah.
There's like 80 episodes. Do you know how long it's going to take us to get to season 8 again? A long time. I'm talking years from now at the rate that we're going. So tweet at us, listeners, at AdamAndyPod. Sarah and I are going to go back to watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We left off in the first season. For me, it's mostly a rewatch. I missed season 7, so that one will be new to me. But Sarah's basically watching it for the first time. Listeners, do you want us to go back to do you want us to go through season 8 again? Would you like us to watch season 8 after we've watched the first 7? Tweet at us at AdamAndyPod, and we'll come Maybe we could do like Sarah. Maybe we could do like a season 8, like a 2-part like retrospective rather than do each episode individually. You know,
Okay.
I feel like we should at least, and it's going to be years from now, so I think we'll have plenty of time, assuming that we're going at the pace that we're going, which is 4 episodes every month is what we've been watching. So it'll take us a while to get through it, I think, at this rate, at least a year or two. Okay. Your moments of thirst. Do you have moments of thirst this week?
I have one.
Ooh,
it is where
I'm ready.
he thinks it sounds like a moan, like a seductive, like a sexy moan, but who does Holt is like, is that like a Nutria's last gasp, or like what is the joke?
I don't remember what the joke was, but I remember Holt's moan was something like,
I know, but Andy did a moan.
He did.
Holt made fun of it, how he made fun of it is something.
That's your moment of thirst? Is Holt making fun of it?
No, not
the moan.
Andy's moan.
Oh yeah, that was on my list as well.
Weird and adorable, and just mostly weird, but kind of adorable.
Yes. I also really liked, and I know that Holt said it in a much sexier voice, but I loved the way that he said, "The gas lines, the pressure just builds and builds." I was like, yes, it does. Yeah, I had that down too. That's a great moment of thirst. Okay. So I had a couple in addition to that. We had Jake in a suit again. I love Andy in a suit. He was in a suit for the wedding, so I love that. Or at least he was in the first half of the episode before he put his like workman's clothes on. Also, he had the leather jacket on again in the Boyle episode, but not with the hoodie on for the first like half of the episode. And I was like, ooh, I like Jake in leather. I like that leather jacket. It's hugging his shoulders, and I'm into it. So that's one of my others. He did his weird Batman voice a couple of times. It was very gravelly and seductive, and I was into it. Where he would, yeah, I'm a detective, and I'm doing this thing, and he had like sort of dropped the register of his voice. So those are my moments of thirst.
Nice.
As you would imagine, I'm normally up for pretty much anything in the bedroom, but I can't tell if what happened was weird or sexy.
Do we have some Adam and Andy trivia this week?
So we have a little bit of trivia.
Yes, lay it on me.
Boyles.
Yes,
that's not related to Andy, but it's related to the episode.
Ooh, I'm excited. Yes, lay it on me.
In Game of Boyles, the flashback showing Pappy show the actor with a green glove on which was supposed to be erased via special effects due to the character losing his hand.
Yes,
in an accident. They forgot.
I'll have to go back and look. Did you go back and look?
I didn't go back and look.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back and look.
But yeah, so apparently he has a green glove in some places, and they just were like, oops.
Oops, it's the last season. Fuck it. Well, okay, let me ask you this, though. You didn't really watch Game of Thrones, right? You only watched like a couple of episodes with me.
Of the last season, yeah.
So in the last season, there were actually quite a few technical slip-ups. Like
I remember the Starbucks cup.
The Starbucks cup. There was another episode where you could see like a water bottle, like a plastic water bottle somebody had tucked under their chair. I have to wonder, was it a mistake, or did they leave the green glove on purpose as a nod to Game of Thrones and all their technical slip-ups?
I don't know.
Tweeted us at Adam Andy Pod. Do you think, did the creators of Brooklyn Nine-Nine miss keying out that, and that's what you call when you remove something that's on a green background or whatever. Did they forget to key out or rotoscope out the hand, or was it a nod to the technical mistakes in Game of Thrones, which would be really the only thing in this episode that reminds me of Game of Thrones, because it was basically Knives Out. It was not Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no.
I wonder why they did. Why did they call it Boyles Out? Why didn't they call it Boyles Out? Ugh. Is that it?
Yeah.
That was great. That was an excellent piece of trivia. Thank you so much. I'm going to be thinking about that and whether they did that on purpose.
Oh, you look awesome. Come the fuck upstairs.
Okay.
But wait, I have to warn you about something.
What?
If you come up here, I'm going to tie you to my bed and keep you for at least 3 days. I'm just in that kind of mood.
Are you ready to find out what we're watching next time?
Don't we know?
Well, let me put it this way. The next thing we're watching is not okay, so we are going to be doing House of Gucci. But House of Gucci doesn't come out until
November 24th.
November, and we're watching it. Now, don't reveal what our surprise is, but we do have a surprise for that House of Gucci episode. I don't want to reveal it yet, but we have a surprise. You know what it is.
I don't remember it.
Well, you don't remember it, but I'll tell you off mic. We do have a surprise, listeners, for the House of Gucci episode. I think you're going to like it. We are watching House of Gucci, but you and I have a plan to watch it on December 1st. That's when we're watching it, which means we're recording on December 2nd, which means that that episode is going to be an Adam episode will come out in the second week of December. But Sarah, we are also recording an Adam episode in this month on the 18th, which is right after Adam's birthday. Which means we have to watch something else before we watch House of Gucci. And I don't know if you remember this, but you and I made a promise about what we would watch every December. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
It's
November though.
I know, but since we're watching House of Gucci in December, I had to move it up a month.
Right. Okay.
So
Star Wars.
So I've queued it up. This is what we're watching next.
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. The pantheon. In the pantheon of Adam Driver characters, Ben Solo, in the horniest Star Wars movie ever made, we're watching The Last Jedi.
Okay, the first one is called
The Force Awakens.
Then
we did that
Jedi,
last December.
Then The Rise of Skywalker. Okay,
that's right.
Okay. I was just trying to remember the names.
Right. So this is
the middle.
The second one. This is the Rian Johnson directed, Force Bond.
Mm-hmm. This
second
one is pretty sexy.
This is a sexy ass movie. Okay. So I'm really excited about this. You know how much I love Star Wars, and I know you only let me talk about it in small increments, and now you're going to let me talk about it for like up to 2 hours. And so listeners, we had promised ourselves and you that we would cover one of the sequel trilogy movies every Christmas-ish time, because that's when the Star Wars movies usually come out. And I had been feeling sad last Christmas because there was no new Star Wars movie. And so we did The Force Awakens, and then we're like, we'll do The Last Jedi next December. But because we're doing House of Gucci in December, I moved it up. So the next thing is so here's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year, listeners. Last Jedi is our next episode. Then we're going to double Adam. We're going to do double Adam, and we'll do House of Gucci with a special surprise that I'll remind Sarah of after we get off the mic. And then that means we're going to end our season 2 of the Adam and Andy podcast with the final 2 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I think could not be more fitting.
Nice.
Noise.
You're right.
Noise. So I'm so excited, Sarah. We're going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to watch Star Wars. We're going to watch
Can we watch it together?
Movies. Yes, please. Can we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, we have to watch it together. I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Listeners, do you want to plug your Instagram? You should plug your Instagram.
So
let's do that.
I have an Instagram account called Hedgehodges Bodpause. It's HEDGEHODGES _BODPOS. It is about my personal journey with weight gain, weight loss, eating disorder, body dysmorphia, insecurities, etc., but also makeup and clothing, which I love. And it's a way to express myself artistically, but also I just like colors and patterns and textures, and it's just a way to share that. Like when I go on Instagram, I like to look at pictures of women that are plus size and that wear cool makeup and like wear cute clothes and stuff, and it kind of like is a boost for me. So I hope that other women and men can look at my profile, my page. What is it called?
Your gram.
My gram, and be like, ooh, I feel good about myself because she feels good about herself. I don't know. So
I love it. I love it. Everybody check it out. You've already got some really gorgeous pictures up there, many of them by the fabulous Lola Scott,
yes, it's true.
who also did the photos for our shoot, which
Mhm.
we're sort of sprinkling on our Instagram account.
Mhm.
But yeah, go check it out. Sarah, I love that account. It brightens my day every time I see
Oh,
it.
thanks.
And listeners, you can find us on social media at Adam and Andy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, you can find us on Twitter at Adam Andy Pod. Tell us what you thought about these episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Tell us. We covered a lot of ground this week. We talked about actors and intimacy, and we talked about baking. Anything feelings you feel or thoughts you've had about anything that we've said. One of the
Do
things
you think that baking is intimate?
do you think bacon is intimate? Do you think people should bake together in the nude? We won't be.
We won't be.
We
Don't
won't
worry.
be, but other people could.
They could. It'd be very unsafe. There'd be
It
flour
would.
everywhere. There'd be chopping implements. Well,
Raw
actually, you don't-
eggs.
Raw eggs. You don't want raw eggs near your junk.
No, you definitely don't. I guess to each their own,
I do
what would a
find-
nude baking competition show be called? What would a nude baking competition show be called? Let's see. What if it was a nude baking competition show about people who are faking an orgasm while they bake, and it would be called faking it.
Baking it.
Faking it. So they're nude
Nakey
baking
and faking it.
they're nude baking, but then but for whatever reason they can't achieve an orgasm, yet they don't want to disappoint their partner, so that would be called faking it, and then they'd be rated on how good the fake orgasm is.
That sounds amazing. You know what is a fun fact about me?
Yeah.
I find kneading dough very sexy.
Oh,
Like when
okay.
there's shots of like people like
so you like
fondling
that
dough.
tactile?
Like I'm like, yeah, fondle that. Like,
Do you think Andy might fondle some dough on baking it? Will you be able to handle it if he does?
I don't know.
Oof.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, the dough. I don't know why. I'm just imagining that's me.
So
And you're
like so of course on Brooklyn Nine-Nine there were a lot of jokes about Holt watching porn, which I also liked. But if for you it would be you would be watching people knead dough.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm into it. Listeners, hope you join us for the next episode where we'll be talking about The Last Jedi. And I'm gonna go finish chugging the rest of this green tea, and I'm gonna go see the Eternals.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Thank you.
Just let me know how it goes. It looks good.
I hope it is. It is 2 hours and 37 minutes long.
Stay awake. Don't pee.
I won't. Well, now I've drunk all this tea. I'm gonna have to pee right before I go in. I'm gonna have to unload the tank right before I go in there for this over 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see it. We'll catch you next time, listeners.
Yeah. See you around.